Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this video, I'll be doing a review of Ateez's most recent mini-album, The World Episode 1 Movement, with the title track Guerrilla. I'll be giving my initial thoughts on both the title track and the B-sides on the album, with me going a lot more in-depth on the title track specifically and doing a little bit more general analysis on the B-sides. Hey everyone, little disclaimer here, so I actually ended up going really in-depth on the title track, to the point where it's an entire video on its own, so I ended up not recording any analysis on the B-sides, but if you want to hear my thoughts on them, in a few hours I'll put a post on my community tab, so look out for that. Anyways, that's the end of my disclaimer, so back to the video. As you've probably noticed, it's only been a little bit since the comebacks dropped that I'm releasing this, so while everything I say in this video will be how I feel right now, things could definitely change in the future. Things I don't like about the comeback now could be my favorite parts in a few weeks, and maybe in the future, songs that I name in this video as my favorite will be ones that I don't even go back to. This is also just my opinion, so if you disagree with anything I say, then that's totally fine. Let's just try to keep it respectful in the comment section, and without further ado, let's get right into the review. So even after listening to the first couple of seconds of the intro, I already knew that Guerrilla was gonna be absolutely dirty. The percussion and bass have this really metallic texture to them that definitely take a second or two to get used to, and I can already imagine that a lot of people won't really like this song because of the beat. I feel like it's gonna be really jarring to a lot of people, especially those who are a bigger fan of Ateez's more lighter songs, such as WayV, Answer, or Treasure. Guerrilla, in true Ateez fashion, starts off with a really nice Hongjoong Verse, where he gets to play with both the brash higher tone of his voice and the lower more mumbly part with his rap. It's definitely not one of his most insane or innovative verses out there. He went with a rhythm that was a bit more simple and easy to understand, but I don't really mind it because it is the intro, and at this point people probably still need time to get used to the beat, so I think it was actually a good idea to go with a bit more of a simple rap so it doesn't get overwhelming. I think a lot of people will probably be asking how I feel about the little screamo section, and right now I actually really like it. This is one of the first times that I've ever seen screamo used in K-pop. The only other time I can recall is when the girl group Pink Fantasy used it in their song Poison. However, I still think that Guerrilla is my favorite instance of it. The screamo bit just fits the concept that they're going for perfectly here, and it's a really good transition to the next section. After the first rap, we have this trade-off section where Yuno, Yosung, Seonghwa, and San each deliver a really short line one after another, and I mean this is definitely nothing new. I can think of a bunch of other groups that do the thing where they have a member with a high voice saying right after a member with a low voice, or in this case vice versa, but I mean they still executed it pretty well here. I really like the instrumental beat in between each four of these members' lines, and this section is just a really solid way to transition into the pre-chorus. Their voices sound great and the composers accomplished what they set out to do. Now, as for the pre-chorus, spoiler alert, this is actually my least favorite part of the song. One of my biggest pet peeves in music is really short pre-choruses that I feel like could have and should have been extended to be a lot longer, and sadly, that's exactly what I think Guerrilla's pre-chorus is. The first time that I listened to it when the performance preview came out, I had to rewind it because I was like, wait, was that it? Because with it only being around 10 seconds long, there isn't really a lot of time to build up to that super intense chorus. Like, when the chorus is super high energy and hard-hitting like this one is, I think you need a pretty lengthy and stretched out pre-chorus in order to prepare people for that drop, but with this really short one, it's like you put all the listeners on this ride, but you don't even give them time to put on their seatbelts before you take off. I love the combination of Seonghwa and Jungho's vocals in the pre-chorus, but I feel like both of their lines could have been like doubled in length, and at least right now, in my opinion, the pre-chorus feels super unfinished. So the first couple of times that I listened to this song, I actually didn't like the chorus because it felt like it came out of nowhere, but if I ignore how the pre-chorus fails to prepare me for it, I do think that the chorus is actually pretty nice. I really love the lines where it's the deeper chanting, I love the rhythm of it, and it feels very powerful. I also like the higher sung parts, but I do think they're a little bit overdone in the chorus. Especially for the first line where Jungho sings in the chorus, I felt like he definitely could have gone down on that final high note, and it would have added a little bit of nice variety because it feels like the chorus is just like high note after high note, so if they added a little bit of diversity into the melody, it would have made the high notes in the second half of the chorus a lot more powerful. Although I'm not entirely sure if what I'm saying right now makes sense, so let me just give you a bit of a demonstration on what I actually mean. So the first sung part of the chorus goes like this. But I think I would have preferred if it went like this. See, See, the only difference here is the final note of that one line, and while I do enjoy the chorus right now, it would have been just that much better if they had a little bit of melodic variety. Like, that one note is literally the only one thing that I want changed, and they can do all of the high notes that they want to afterwards. I really love the contrast between the first and the second half of the chorus. The second half somehow gets even crazier than the first, and it has a really similar energy to the second half of the chorus of Fireworks, so you already know it's good. The vocals, as always, were great, and I really love how the instrumental builds as well. Overall, the chorus was just really solid, even if there was one or two things that I would change. Moving on to the second verse, I've just gotta say it, one of my favorite things about Ateez is how long they will let Hongjoong and Mingi rap for. Considering how a majority of groups in K-pop will have a member rap for like 5 seconds and then switch to someone else, it's really refreshing to see both of Ateez's main rappers get 20-second long verses to themselves. Hongjoong and Mingi are both some of my favorite K-pop rappers of all time, and once again, Mingi did not disappoint here. This honestly might be one of his best verses of all time. I love how he starts off strong and fast and then lays off a little bit in the second half. Typically, that's kind of the opposite of what you expect from a rap, but for some reason here it just makes sense, and it seemed expertly executed as well. His rhythm was great, his energy was great, his flow is great. I literally have no complaints. So the last thing that I'm gonna say about this verse is just, good job, Mingi. So moving on, we have this little, I guess you could call it an interlude section with vocals from Yuno and San. So I like this section, but I do think it feels a little bit out of place. It seems like it comes out of nowhere, and there's no transition either in or out of this section that makes it feel like it fits with the rest of the music. It just comes and goes really fast, and afterwards I'm like, what purpose did this serve? Like, to end off this section, there's just a beat, and then now we're in the pre-chorus. So once again, I don't get why this section's here. The instrumental's very pretty, and their voices sound nice as always, but they could have made the progression in and out of this part a little bit more natural, because right now it seems like they just threw it in there to throw it in there. I don't know. Okay, so moving on, then they do the pre-chorus and the chorus again, and they don't change a single thing. So I'm not going to add anything, just know that everything I said about the pre-chorus and chorus the first time also applies here. So now let's talk about the bridge. This bridge totally feels like something that you would hear in an anime. Very much so something that you would hear as the protagonist is running up to slay the final beast, and it was nice, I really enjoyed it. This is the part of the song where it most felt like, okay, yeah, we're building up to something huge here. San, Jungho, and Yuno really used a lot of power in their voices here, and they sound like total rock stars, which is just awesome. Besides that, it's a pretty standard bridge, so I don't think there's much else to say about it. So now onto the dance break part. So right before the dance break, they have this like acapella chanting, and I'm always a sucker for something like that. They chant the first line of the chorus, so the dance break was kind of a fake out, which I really enjoyed. And as for the actual dance break, like, whoa, that was a total eargasm. That hard rock synth that they have going on in the background is so hype, and it was just a really good dance break. I don't know what else to say. And now the final chorus. So they kind of take away the second half of the chorus that's present in the first and second one, and replace it with this really intensified version of the first half with crazy instrumentals and typical Jungho high note ad-libs. It was a nice way to end the song, and I understand that with the dance break they probably didn't want to do too much at the end, so I'm not mad that they cut out the second half. So as a finale, this final chorus was pretty good. And that wraps up my section by section analysis of the song. Overall, I have generally positive feelings about this title track. Right now, I definitely like it, but it's also definitely not my favorite. In my Ateez title track ranking, it's somewhere below Wonderland and Fireworks, which are my top 2. And if I had to give Guerrilla a rating out of 10, right now I would say it's an 8.5. And that concludes this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more content from me, consider subscribing. Before we leave, I'd like to thank my channel members as always. Our 2 newest members are Jed and Soda Scribbles, as well as Sonorinth, Opichin ITZY, Jujumin, Wu Twice Tees, Dog, Saiyan Lover, Kyukun Love, What's OP, Zeus112, Flo099, Goyangzi, Jackie, AB, ZVH, Che, Ray, Wu Youngie, and Ian Latte. Thank you to my channel members for supporting my channel, and thank you all so much for watching. I hope the rest of you all enjoy your day or night or whatever, and without further ado, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out.